Big news from Manchester United, training ground buzz and takeover talk. Welcome back to United Daily Updates, your most trusted source for everything Manchester United. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel where we bring you the latest news, tactical breakdowns, and honest discussions about our beloved Red Devils. We're building a community of real United fans who care about the club, and we'd love to have you as part of it. Today, we've got some absolutely massive stories to cover. From what's happening at Carrington during the international break to potentially the biggest ownership news in years, this could be a defining moment for Manchester United. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's dive into everything that's been going on. What's happening at Carrington right now? While many of the big names are away on international duty, something special is happening at Manchester United's training ground. Ruben Amorim is making the most of this international break, and the reports coming out of Carrington are genuinely exciting. You know what? Sometimes these quiet periods can tell us more about a manager and his plans than the big match days. And right now, Amorim seems to be building something really special with the players who stayed behind. Lisandro Martinez is leading from the front. Let's start with Laika. Lisandro Martinez has been absolutely brilliant in training this week. Reports say he's been a proper leader out there, showing exactly why Amorim rates him so highly. The Argentine defender was apparently running the show during defensive drills. His aggression, his tactical understanding, his communication with teammates, everything you want from a top centre-back. And here's the best part, Amorim was seen smiling and clapping as Martinez marshalled the defence. Think about what that means. Amorim is known for his tactical demands, especially from his defenders. He wants them to be comfortable on the ball, aggressive without the ball, and smart enough to read the game. Martinez ticks every single one of those boxes. In small-sided games, Martinez was keeping the intensity high. He wasn't letting anyone slack off. That's the kind of leadership United have been crying out for. We've all seen what happens when the team lacks that warrior mentality. Well, Laika brings it every single day. Under Amorim's system, which often uses three centre-backs, Martinez is perfect. He can play on the left side of that three, stepping into midfield when needed. He's comfortable bringing the ball out from the back. And when it's time to defend, he's as tough as they come. The question is, will Martinez be the key player in Amorim's defensive rebuild? All signs point to yes. Kobbie Mainoo. The future is bright. Now let's talk about the young man who's got everyone talking. Kobbie Mainoo once again showed why he's considered one of the most exciting prospects in English football. Sources from training say Mainoo was oozing class. His passing was sharp, his positioning was intelligent, and his confidence was sky high. Remember, this is a 19-year-old kid going up against experienced professionals, and he's looking completely at home. But here's what really caught my attention. Amorim reportedly called Mainoo a future midfield general. Let that sink in for a moment. Your new manager, who's worked with some top midfielders in his career, is saying this about a teenager. What makes Mainoo special? It's his composure under pressure. In modern football, that's gold. Teams press high, they try to force mistakes, they want you to panic. Mainoo doesn't. He receives the ball, he turns, he finds the pass. Simple football, but done brilliantly. His combination of quick passing and clever positioning fits perfectly with what Amorim wants. The Portuguese manager demands midfielders who can control games, who can receive the ball in tight spaces, and who can transition play from defense to attack quickly. Mainoo does all of that naturally. It's not just about talent though. It's about his football intelligence. He seems to understand where to be before the ball even arrives. That's not something you can easily teach. The exciting thing is that he's only going to get better. With Amorim's coaching and proper guidance, Mainoo could develop into one of the Premier League's top midfielders. United fans should be really excited about this kid. The others making their mark. It wasn't just Martinez and Mainoo grabbing attention. Several other players were also putting in serious work at Carrington. Amad Diallo was there, showing the kind of hunger that makes managers take notice. The young winger has been waiting for his chance, and these training sessions are perfect opportunities to impress Amorim. Mason Mount was also involved. Now, Mount's time at United hasn't gone as planned so far. Injuries have disrupted his progress, and he's struggled to nail down a regular starting spot. But international breaks like this give him a chance to work closely with Amorim and understand exactly what's expected of him. Could we see a reinvented Mason Mount under Amorim? It's definitely possible. The manager is known for getting the best out of players who fit his system. Mount has quality, there's no doubt about that. He just needs clarity on his role and some consistent game time. Victor Lindelof and Diogo Dalot were also putting in the work. Both are experienced professionals who understand what it takes. Dalot especially has been impressive this season, and his versatility makes him valuable in Amorim's system. What Amorim is building. The overall atmosphere at training was described as competitive but joyful. That's a really good sign. Think about it. You want competition because it pushes everyone to be better. But you also want joy because that's when players perform at their best. When they're relaxed, confident, and enjoying their football, magic happens. Amorim was reportedly running tactical build-up drills and minimatches. He's clearly using this time to sharpen the team's rhythm before competitive action resumes. Every manager has their methods, but Amorim seems particularly focused on the details. He wants his team to understand exactly what to do in every situation. Where to pass, where to move, how to press, how to defend. It's all about patterns and automatisms. The more you practice them, the more natural they become in matches. One insider said Amorim is building trust and chemistry with the squad's depth. That's crucial. United have a big squad, and not everyone can play every game. But if the players who aren't starting feel valued and understand their role, that creates a healthy environment. Could these training sessions shape United's lineup after the international break? Absolutely. Players are making statements every day. Martinez and Mainu are clearly in Amorim's plans, but others are fighting for their spots too. The competition for places is exactly what United need. For too long, some players seemed comfortable knowing they'd play regardless of form. That's changing now. The Saudi Arabian takeover story. Right, let's move on to the other massive story. A Saudi Arabian consortium has reportedly expressed serious interest in buying Manchester United from the Glazer family. This is huge news. I mean, potentially club-changing, future-defining, everything could be different kind of news. What we know so far. According to reports, a powerful group of Saudi business figures with close ties to Saudi Arabia Sports Investment Authority is preparing a major offer for the club. The rumored price? Over £6 billion. Yes, you read that right. £6 billion. That would make it one of the biggest sports ownership deals in history. This consortium apparently wants to continue Saudi Arabia's push into global football. We've already seen them invest heavily in the Saudi Pro League, bringing in stars like Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, and Neymar. They own Newcastle United through the Public Investment Fund. And now, they might want Manchester United. The Glazers, as usual, are staying silent. But that silence is making people wonder if they're finally ready to sell after years of fan protests and pressure. What would the Saudis bring? Let's talk about what this takeover could mean for Manchester United. The consortium's vision reportedly includes some big promises. First, they want to revamp Old Trafford. Our stadium, as much as we love it, needs serious work. The facilities are outdated compared to modern stadiums. There are leaks, the seats are cramped, and it just doesn't match United's status as one of the world's biggest clubs. The Saudis are talking about turning Old Trafford into a modern super stadium. That could mean either a complete rebuild or massive renovation. Either way, it would require billions in investment. Second, they want to strengthen the academy and scouting system. United's academy has produced some incredible talents over the years, but there's always room for improvement. Better facilities, better coaches, better everything. Third, they want to make Ruben Amorim's project central to their plans. That's interesting timing, isn't it? Amorim has just arrived, he's starting to implement his ideas, and now there's talk of new owners who want to back him fully. Imagine Amorim with unlimited resources. He could sign any player he wants, build the squad exactly as he envisions, and focus purely on the football without worrying about budgets. The financial power. Let's be honest about what Saudi ownership would mean financially. We're talking about essentially unlimited resources. Look at what they've done with Newcastle. Since taking over in 2021, they've invested heavily in the squad, improved the facilities, and turned Newcastle into genuine top four contenders. And that's Newcastle, a club with less commercial power than United. Now imagine that level of investment at Manchester United. The club already has massive commercial revenue, global fan base, and brand power. Add Saudi money to that, and United could compete with anyone for any player. Want to sign Kylian Mbappé? You could afford it. Want Jude Bellingham? Make an offer. Want to build a squad capable of winning the Champions League? No problem. This isn't fantasy. This is what Saudi ownership could potentially deliver. The transfer market would change overnight for United. No more worrying about financial fair play the way we have been. No more selling to buy. No more missing out on top targets because the price is too high. But it's not all simple. Now, before everyone gets too excited, we need to talk about the concerns. Because there are real issues to consider here. First, there's the sports washing debate. Saudi Arabia has been criticized for its human rights record. Many people see their sports investments as attempts to improve their global image, or sports washing as it's called. We've seen this debate with Newcastle already. Some fans are uncomfortable with the ownership. Others argue that they're just supporting their club and have no control over who owns it. This debate would be even bigger at Manchester United because of the club's global profile. Every decision would be scrutinized. Every statement would be analyzed. The media attention would be intense. Second, there's the question of what United would become under Saudi ownership. Would the club lose some of its identity? Would it become just another state-owned club like Paris Saint-Germain or Manchester City? United fans take pride in the club's history and traditions. The worry is that new owners focus purely on winning might not respect or understand those traditions. Third, there are regulatory hurdles. The Premier League has ownership rules. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund already owns Newcastle United. Could the same country effectively control two Premier League clubs? That raises questions about multi-club ownership and conflicts of interest. The Premier League would need to approve any takeover. That's not automatic, especially with these complications. What do the fans think? Fan reaction to this news has been mixed, and that's putting it mildly. Some fans are absolutely desperate for the Glazers to leave. They've been protesting for years, demanding change. To them, almost any new owner would be better than the current situation. These fans point out that the Glazers loaded debt onto the club, took money out in dividends, and let Old Trafford fall into disrepair. They see Saudi investment as a chance to finally compete with Manchester City and other wealthy clubs. Other fans are more cautious. They worry about the ethical implications of Saudi ownership. They question whether success would feel as meaningful if it's bought with essentially unlimited money. There's also a middle group who just want what's best for the club. They're willing to consider Saudi ownership but want guarantees about how the club would be run. They want assurance that United's traditions would be respected and that the focus would be on building something sustainable, not just buying success. The truth is, there's no consensus among United fans. This is a complicated issue with valid points on all sides. The Glazer factor. Let's talk about the Glazers for a moment. They've owned United since 2005, and it's fair to say most fans want them gone. Why? Well, there's a long list of complaints. The leveraged buyout that put debt on the club. The lack of investment in facilities. The dividends paid to owners while the team struggled. The feeling that they don't really care about football, just profits. There was hope last year when the Glazers explored a full sale. Sheikh Jassim from Qatar made a bid. Sir Jim Ratcliffe made a bid. In the end, Ratcliffe bought about 25% of the club with plans to eventually take full control. But that hasn't satisfied most fans. They want the Glazers completely gone, not just partially reduced. A Saudi offer of over £6 billion might be enough to tempt them. That's serious money, even for the Glazers. And if they're finally ready to sell completely, this could be the offer that does it. The question is whether the Glazers are truly willing to let go. They've resisted before. They know United is a valuable asset that will only increase in value. Why sell now unless the price is irresistible? £6 billion might just be irresistible enough. What happens next? So where does this story go from here? Well, if the Saudi interest is real and serious, we're looking at months of negotiations. First, the consortium would need to make a formal offer. That offer would need to satisfy the Glazers' valuation of the club. Given that they reportedly wanted around £6 to £7 billion during last year's sale process, the Saudis would need to meet or exceed that. Second, there would be due diligence. The buyers would examine United's finances in detail. They'd assess the value of everything from the stadium to the playing contracts to the commercial deals. Third, there would be negotiations over the terms. How much would be paid up front? Would there be any conditions? What about the club's debt? What commitments would the new owners make about investment? Fourth, the deal would need Premier League approval. This is where things could get complicated. The league would need to be satisfied that the takeover meets all their rules, including those around multi-club ownership. Fifth, there would be fan consultation. United supporters would make their voices heard, no doubt about that. The new owners would need to win over the fan base, or at least a significant portion of it. The whole process could take anywhere from a few months to over a year. These mega deals are never quick or simple. Could this really happen? The big question everyone's asking is whether this takeover could actually happen. Honestly, it's possible, but far from certain. Saudi Arabia has shown they're willing to invest huge amounts in football. They want to be major players in the sport globally. Owning Manchester United would be a massive statement. The Glazers might finally be ready to sell if the price is right. Years of protests and criticism have made their ownership uncomfortable. A big payday might convince them it's time to move on. But there are also reasons to be skeptical. We've seen takeover rumors before that came to nothing. The regulatory challenges are real. And the Glazers have shown they're not in any rush to leave. My advice? Stay informed, but don't get carried away just yet. This story is developing, and things could change quickly. It might be real, it might be posturing, or it might be somewhere in between. What we can say for certain is that this news has gotten everyone talking. United fans around the world are discussing what this could mean for their club. The bigger picture. Let's zoom out for a moment and think about what this means for football in general. We're seeing more and more state ownership or state-backed ownership in football. Manchester City is owned by Abu Dhabi. Newcastle is owned by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. Paris Saint-Germain is owned by Qatar. If Manchester United joins that list, it would represent another shift in how football clubs are owned and run. The traditional model of private owners is being replaced by sovereign wealth funds and state investment vehicles. Is this good for football? That depends on who you ask. Some argue it brings investment and raises standards. Others worry it creates an uneven playing field where only state-backed clubs can truly compete at the highest level. For United fans specifically, the question is simpler. Would Saudi ownership make Manchester United better? Would it bring success? Would it restore the club to its former glory? The answer is probably yes in terms of resources and investment. But success isn't guaranteed just because you have money. You still need the right manager, the right players, the right strategy. You need good decision-making at every level. Money helps, obviously. But we've seen clubs spend fortunes and still struggle. The challenge is spending wisely and building something sustainable. What this all means for United's future. So let's bring everything together. We've got Amorim building something at Carrington, with players like Martinez and Mainu impressing. And we've got potential new ownership that could transform the club's finances. These two stories are actually connected in an interesting way. Amorim needs backing to succeed. He needs investment in players who fit his system. He needs time and patience to implement his ideas. He needs the club's full support. Under the Glazers, managers have often felt they're working with one hand tied behind their backs. There's money available, but never quite enough to compete with the very best. There are always compromises, always difficult choices about which positions to strengthen. Saudi ownership could change that completely. Amorim could build exactly the squad he wants. Every position could be upgraded. Every tactical requirement could be met. Martinez and Mainu could be joined by world-class talents in every position. United could assemble a squad capable of challenging for every trophy. But here's the thing. Even without new ownership, Amorim seems to be making progress. The reports from training are positive. Players are buying into his methods. There's a good atmosphere building. Sometimes, the intangibles matter as much as money. Having the right manager with the right ideas can transform a team even without massive spending, so United fans should be excited about both stories. The progress at Carrington shows Amorim is building something. The takeover talk suggests the club's finances could be about to change dramatically. Questions United fans are asking. Let me address some of the questions I'm seeing from United fans about all of this. Will Martinez and Mainu definitely start when the team returns from the international break? That's up to Amorim, but they're clearly making strong cases. Martinez especially seems to be a key part of the manager's plans. What about the other players who are away on international duty? They'll slot back into training when they return. The work being done now is about depth and keeping everyone sharp. The full squad will come together soon. Is the Saudi takeover definitely happening? No, it's not definite at all. This is early stages. There's interest, but that doesn't mean a deal will happen. Stay tuned for more updates as this develops. How long would a takeover take if it is happening? These things typically take months. There would be negotiations, due diligence, regulatory approval. Don't expect quick resolution. Would United fans accept Saudi ownership? That's complicated. Fan opinion is divided. Some desperately want the Glazers gone and would welcome almost any alternative. Others have concerns about Saudi ownership. It's not a simple yes or no question. What would happen to Sir Jim Ratcliffe's stake? Good question. Ratcliffe currently owns about 25% with plans for gradual full control. A Saudi bid would complicate that. Would they buy him out? Would he stay as a minority shareholder? Unknown at this point. Could the Premier League block the takeover? They could if it violates their rules. The multi-club ownership issue with Newcastle is a potential problem. But regulations can change, and exceptions can be made. It would depend on the specific details of any deal. Why you should stay connected with United Daily Updates. This is exactly why you need to stay connected with United Daily Updates. These are massive stories that will develop over days, weeks, and months. We'll be bringing you every update as it happens. Every training report. Every takeover development. Every tactical insight about what Amorim is building. On our YouTube channel, we break down the news in a way that's easy to understand. We give you context. We explain what it all means. And we do it all with the passion of true United fans who care deeply about this club. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. Hit that notification bell so you're first to know when we post new content. And join the discussion in the comments because this community is all about United fans sharing their thoughts and opinions. We're not here to tell you what to think. We're here to give you the information and let you make up your own mind. Whether it's about which players should start or whether new ownership will be good for the club, we want to hear your voice. Final thoughts. These are fascinating times to be a Manchester United fan. There's genuine excitement about what Amorim is building on the pitch. Players are stepping up, showing hunger, and buying into the new manager's methods. Martinez looks like the leader United have needed. Mainu looks like a future star. And there are others fighting for their chances too. Off the pitch, the ownership situation could be about to change dramatically. Saudi interest might lead to a takeover that transforms the club's financial power. Or it might come to nothing. We'll have to wait and see. What we know for certain is that Manchester United remains one of the biggest clubs in world football. The passion of the fans hasn't dimmed despite years of disappointment. The desire for success burns as strong as ever. Whether it's through smart coaching like Amorim is providing or through major investment from new owners, United fans are hoping for a return to the top. They want to see their team competing for Premier League titles and Champions League trophies again. Is that realistic? Can United get back to that level? With the right combination of management, investment, and player development, absolutely yes. The pieces might be falling into place. Amorim is proving to be an excellent coach who gets the best out of his players. The squad has quality, even if it needs strengthening in certain areas. And now there's the possibility of ownership that could provide the financial backing to compete with anyone. Of course, there are no guarantees in football. Success is never certain, no matter how much money you have or how good your manager is. But United are at least moving in the right direction. The training reports from Carrington are encouraging. The takeover talk is intriguing. And the season still has a long way to go with plenty of opportunities for this team to achieve something special. So stay patient, stay hopeful, and stay connected with United Daily Updates. We'll be here every step of the way, bringing you the latest news and analysis. This is just the beginning of what could be a very exciting period for Manchester United. Whether you're Team Amorim building gradually or Team new owners investing heavily, or ideally both, there are reasons to be optimistic about the future. Thanks for reading, and remember to check out our YouTube channel for even more United content. Let's go on this journey together as we follow every twist and turn of Manchester United story. Come on United!